My first week here, when I first came to volunteer, was definitely the hardest. I could either cry myself to sleep or get up and do something about it. And all I could think was that the girl was the same age as my niece.
Теперь она решила исполнить вам песню для поднятия боевого духа. Амелия Анисович.
Что прошло, уже не вернуть. Отпусти и забудь. Новый день он кажет путь. Не боюсь ничего уже.
I'm not a religious person, but I pray to God that someone would help them. And I thought that if I was praying to God for someone to help them, that I need to be willing to do it. I first arrived on April 1st, 2022. At the time, we were seeing about 1,000, maybe 1,500 people every day coming in Tesco. Yeah, so 1,500 people coming in, 1,500 people going out. And people with terrible wounds. Forget about like the psychological trauma. So you do your 16-hour day, you go back home. I was lucky enough where I had rented like a little house. I would call my friends or call my family and just tell them about what's happening there. Cry a lot. And then try to fall asleep. So I was just cleaning floors because I don't know Polish, I don't know Ukrainian, I don't know Russian. I started helping them implement policies when it came to sanitation, come up with protocol and cleaning schedules and cleaning crews. Originally, I was just gonna come out for 1 week, and then 1 week became 2 weeks. 2 weeks became my mother threatening to take my dog to a shelter if I didn't return home. So I came back home, and I realized that the past 2 weeks meant more to me than the past 10 years. When I was in America, I was heavily depressed. I had a really good job that I was really good at, but wasn't fulfilling. And being there, making a difference in people's lives, it fulfilled that part of me that was just empty. I felt valued. I felt needed. When I got back, I was sitting in a status call, and we were going over where my projects were at, what went wrong. There was a poster that had been printed for a conference, but the poster had been printed slightly off shade. So I had to basically jump through a bunch of hoops to go and get this poster printed to the correct shade of purple. I realized that none of this shit matters. None of this shit matters nearly as much as what I did in the past 2 weeks. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, got my dog his papers, and flew back over. So this is Ozzy. This is my pup from home. All right, Oz. So Ozzy is 11. Ozzy has found that he absolutely loves Polish sausage. Absolutely loves it. But can no longer eat it, unfortunately. So let's say one organization had a bunch of diapers, but another organization needed them, but the one organization didn't have any contacts, so then I acted as a facilitator. There were widespread missile attacks across Ukraine. And Tesco, they had reduced their capacity from 1,500 people to 200. So when there was a massive migration of people from Ukraine into Poland, there was no space. So I was getting calls from people at the train station that there were families sleeping on the floor, sleeping outside. The first night that this shelter opened, we had 30 people. And I reached out to all the organizations that I was helping to allocate volunteers to and resources and said, listen, I just opened this emergency shelter. I need whatever you have. And it was only thanks to all these other grassroots organizations that first night people had blankets, that people had pillows. The next morning, I had a barbecue grill. So for breakfast, we did scrambled eggs on the barbecue with kielbasa, and it just grew from there. Our shelter now is the only transit center on Poland's borders. We're also the largest. Well, if we're the only, we're also the largest. Where our shelter, like if you walk into it, it doesn't feel like a refugee shelter. It feels more like a family, more like a community. And that's something that we wanted to happen, but we didn't set this up intentionally, like it just evolved that way. Knowing that I've seen every single child that's drawn a picture that's on a wall, I remember most of their stories. It fills me with joy knowing that they're in a new place, and that they're safe, and that they're happy. This was actually painted by one of our volunteers, Katya, and then we had a plan to go and put thumbtacks in. Whenever a new family would arrive, they'd basically show us on the map where they're from and put a thumbtack in. But then we lost all the thumbtacks. There was a little boy who had come through with his father, and they were from Odessa. His mother had passed away about a year into the war due to the stress of continuous bombings, and unfortunately she took her own life. And when the boy came out, he wouldn't make eye contact, wouldn't say a word to anyone, not even really his father, he just clung to his father. He was like that for about 2 days until there was a big thunderstorm. The son was terrified because it sounded like artillery. So his father was sitting with me on the couch when the thunderstorm started. My dog is also terrified of thunderstorms. So Ozzy was curled up next to me, shaking violently, because that's just how he deals with it. I haven't found a way to deal with it. And then the boy came out of the bedroom and started crying, or started hugging his father and also shaking. And they saw that Ozzy was shaking. And they went over, and he was so concerned more about Ozzy's reaction than he was about the thunderstorm. So he tried comforting Ozzy to make Ozzy feel better. And then that, by him helping someone else and him focusing on someone else, it helped him deal with his trauma. And then later that day when the thunderstorm passed, he was making eye contact. And from that day forward, like the boy would come out and play with Ozzy and would always get very excited about Ozzy. And we were able to help that family get to Ireland, and they're very happy now. The team that we have here is just incredible. So everyone that is here because they want to be here, because they want to help. They're not doing it for a paycheck. Most of us are paying to be here. That's also one of the special things about our shelter. I also think this is one of the reasons why our shelter works so well, is that none of our staff are paid. No one is paid, no one receives a volunteer stipend. So it's such a departure from what normal people do. Right? Normal people, they have a job, they have a house, they have a family, they're content in what they're doing, they go fishing on the weekends. And meanwhile here, like, we're cleaning washing the floors, cleaning up bathrooms, but this is what I enjoy doing and what I feel like is the best use of my life. Throughout my life, I've always suffered with depression, always been suicidal, sometimes worse than others. I've done a couple of suicide attempts in the past, and never really played out for one reason or another. And it's only here that I felt actually valued, actually needed, that my life was worth something. So what I do here, a lot of people say it's selfless, but it's not. This is a very selfish act. Because for me, like, this is what makes me feel good. So people feel like they're a part of the space, that they're contributing. And the reason why we did that is because what we found, not just, well, primarily for ourselves as volunteers, is that giving back empowers you. It lets you feel like even though in their case they left the war, they're still helping their fellow country. So they still have power.
Hello, dear Jay. Thank you very much for your support. Ваша підтримка дуже потрібна Україні. Ви вчинили так, як роблять справжні друзі. Ви дуже класний. Дуже вам дякую. Дуже всім серцем. І бажаю вам тепла і здоров'я. А зараз я вам посилаю сердечко.
Hi, Amelia. I'm sorry this took so long. I was pretty sick. But I did get a haircut, so that's something, right? I just want to say thank you so much for the video. I can't tell you how much it meant to me. It's all thanks to you that I'm here. You know, your video of you singing Frozen just, it hit me really hard. And, it encouraged me to get out of my comfort zone, do something that I never thought I would do. And that inspired me to continue doing it.
So right now I'm looking at starting a new shelter inside Ukraine. There'll be a long-term stay shelter. We're going to work with local animal rescues that evacuate farm animals, because a lot of people in the East also won't leave their land because places won't accept their farm animals. So we're going to give people the opportunity to escape with their farm animals. And it'll all be for the betterment of that community and trying to establish basically our own village, but a village of people helping each other.